the over 172 in that one. High scoring in Oakland game over my play. Yes, Philly guy, I agree with you. I agree with you. Where have you been anyway? Who's yelling? Is that what you said? My daughter. My daughter came running down. She was yelling. Anyway, let's go over to the ice where things have been rolling right along this year. You got Buffalo, bad spot against Pittsburgh. I mean, what do you want me to say? Play Pittsburgh money line? No. At minus 270? No. But it's a game you might want to hold on to. Pittsburgh's been playing well. And you look at the Bruins, they go into New Jersey tonight. Finally getting a win in Toronto. They've been playing like crap. So hasn't San Jose. I mean, so hasn't New Jersey. Um, they've owned they've owned them for the most part. Boston, that is. Maybe a Pittsburgh and Boston parlay. That's where my mind is tonight. Detroit, not a great spot for Detroit, as bad as Montreal is. They're only 140 for a reason. I know that line might stick out to some people. A playoff team, trying to get into the playoffs against one of the worst teams in the league. I just like saying that as much as I can about Montreal, so I'm going to continue to say it. They're just not good. Bad, really bad. And I enjoy seeing that. Anyway, I don't know. I got a buddy up in Montreal. We talk every day, and he says the same thing about this spot. He doesn't really love it that much. I don't know. I'd be careful with it. We have a client playing the Toronto, Florida game. Good game, Chicago, Minnesota. That should be an interesting one. Chicago really needs to get going here before the playoffs come. Minnesota's fucking rolling. I mean, I know Chicago's won 2 in a row, but they really haven't been playing great offensively. And Minnesota just really playing well. Really playing well. Should be a good game. Let's see, Nashville, Dallas. Nashville, I believe, they played last night, so second night of a back-to-back. Tough spot for them. Dallas, though, I feel like they still need to kick it into a gear if they want to really, make a run through these playoffs, which are going to be nasty in the West. You're going to have to win a few really tough series to get into the Stanley Cup. Where on the East, it's sort of Washington and coin flip for everyone else. Colorado goes into St. Louis. We actually have a client play on that one as well. And then San Jose, which played last night, rolling into Vancouver. Never a fan of laying money with San Jose, even if against Vancouver. A Vancouver team that just offensively is pathetic. They've lost a ton of games in a row. I'm not going to lay 190 on the road with San Jose. So slow night there. To summarize it, Pittsburgh. Maybe do a Pittsburgh-Boston parlay. I would suggest that. As far as a 5-unit play, no Canadian teams in playoffs this year. It is pretty remarkable if you think about that, especially when last year I believe there was 5 teams that made it, if I'm not mistaken, in the playoffs. But either way, getting to the 5-unit play, and it's for tomorrow. And I'm going to give this one out, right? Because I believe it's the last time they play this year, so whatever. If you remember it for next year, God bless you. Calgary playing Anaheim tomorrow. Anaheim coming back off the road. Calgary also, they played last night, but Anaheim first came back from a little road trip there. But if you pull up, home and away, it just doesn't matter, okay? But especially at home, Anaheim against Calgary in their last 20 meetings, 2-0 against Calgary in Anaheim. Anaheim is 20-0 against them. 20-0. Right? And even if you look against Calgary, like this goes back a long way since the last time Calgary beat Anaheim. And on top of that, at home in those 20 games, this is the most impressive, what I think, is the fact Anaheim scored 3 goals or more in all 20 of those games, which is just ridiculous if you really think about it. So that's going to be the play. The play is whatever's cheaper. Either you're going to take Anaheim on the money line, and I'm preparing you guys now because it is going to be minus 200, right? And this is about the only case scenario where I really lay it. However, I do have some open parlays that I've sort of been putting together throughout the weekend to stick them in there. But as far as sending it to my clients, it is the one and only time I do it. And we did it last time. They were like 180. We laid it. It was fine. If the team total is 2.5 and it's the juice on it's like 160 and it's cheaper obviously than taking the side, feel just as comfortable taking that as well. I would say if the line's 200 or if you're laying 160, don't do it to win 5 units. Just risk a fucking good amount on it is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It's a good solid play. One of one of the better client system trend, whatever you want to call it, plays I've given out on the show. Really, it really is. There's a lot of good numbers to back it up. It's crazy. It really is. The dominance. They just don't match up well. Jay Goots, what's up on the chat box? Can't wait for MLB to start. Yeah, we're there, bud. It started for us. I mean, if you've been on board playing these preseason games, I get a lot of clients saying, I wish the spring didn't end. I personally wish the spring went through the month of April right now. Got a great read on these teams, Give me the information. You're going to give me all that information. I'm going to use it to my advantage, and I'm going to, let my clients use it to their advantage too. You're going to tell me everyone who's starting, everyone who's coming in out of the bullpen in order. You're going to tell me how many innings everyone's playing. You're going to give me all that data. Thank you very much. So, like I said, I hate when the spring ends because it always usually ends on a high note, and then the first couple weeks of the season is always tough. Between teams playing in cold weather for the first time, certain pitchers don't pitch in cold weather well. And it's just not how you think. The anomalies looking back, like if you look back at 2014, you look at certain players, where do they struggle? When do pitchers struggle the most? And for the most part, it's the first couple weeks of the season. A team might be playing a ton of overs early, but they're really an under team. Everything's sort of flip-flopped, wished-washed, mixed up, sort of like you're mixing up a deck of cards on the table where you just sort of, like the dealers do. That's April. And then you put them together, and you start playing blackjack with that one deck, and you can start counting the cards. And the deeper the deck goes, the better you can get at predicting what's coming next, if that makes sense. I don't know. Anyway, what do we got? The Dodgers got first and third. That's not bad. Arizona, 1-0 lead. Got to like that. Oh, the Cubs tied it up at 1. All right. It's all right. And no score in the Cincinnati game, which I said was going to be yesterday when I gave out the Cincinnati play. I said, listen, I'm just basing this on offenses. This one has nothing to do with the pitching tonight, based on offense. I think it was 3-3 in the first. Tons of offense in that game. Today I expect more of the same, although it's scoreless right now in the second. So that's that. So sum it up. Anaheim Angels tomorrow. Anaheim Angels tomorrow. If you like something today, leave a spot open for Anaheim tomorrow. Team total over. There you go. NBA. No, not NBA. Although I would take Charlotte because Philly at home as a 10-point or more dog at home, I believe, is 0-10 ATS. They haven't covered a game all year in this spot. So maybe take a shot with Calgary take a shot with Charlotte. They've been playing pretty good. Angels or the Ducks? The Anaheim Ducks. They just got the Ducks. Ducks are playing Calgary tomorrow in hockey. 20-0. Not the Angels, the Ducks. So that's that. And then again, to review in college basketball, I talk about that Valpo game. I like the side Valpo, but I'm going to lean towards that first half under. I like that one. I think Valpo will be able to control the pace against BYU. We talked about that Columbia game with the coaching changes from the Columbia side. You got Irvine traveling 5,000 miles this week. Their big guy's a little injured, a little banged up. I'm going to lean towards the under in that one at 140. A lean towards the under on that one. Obviously, the San Diego State, I preach about. If you have to keep asking me about what's the play in the San Diego State game, you're just not listening, and you're basically just disrespecting me if you listen to this show and you have to keep asking me, because I say it a million times on every podcast whenever they're playing. So that's that. That was one where I started to give out at the end of the year because I didn't think they'd play anymore, and you basically went 4 or 5-1 if you played it ever since I've really gave it out. Old Dominion Santa Barbara. I like the Santa Barbara feel to that one. I think I like that one a little bit. In Oakland over 172. That's that. Baseball tonight, not much more. Oh, if I said the Angels, I apologize. I said, I don't know. Anaheim. We'll go with Anaheim. I might have said the Angels when I was looking at baseball. I apologize. Glad I stayed away from Texas today. We've been riding Texas, obviously, guys. If you don't know what clients you guys know. What a catch out there. Oh, he dropped it. Never mind. Moron. Either way, so that's it. As far as baseball, we can talk a little baseball now. I mentioned the San Fran, their problems. What I really want to talk about, and I don't even remember, maybe I did talk about this on the show already. Um, Josh Hamilton, you guys know Josh Hamilton, right? Had problems with drugs. When he was down in Texas, Nolan Ryan 2 years ago before the playoffs, after he had a little relapse, told him no more drinking, no nothing, no more chewing tobacco, and he made him stop doing chewing tobacco. He went like 2 for 50, including in the playoffs. Had a horrible experience. After he said it really affected him not having the chewing tobacco during the game, sort of like an idiosyncrasy type thing. A little a binky. It's a good way to provide it. You get a little binky in your mouth as far as a comfort thing. And now many teams have banned smokeless tobacco in their stadiums. Boston, San Francisco, New York, Chicago's voting on it tomorrow. They're probably going to ban it as well. And these players are going to no longer be able to have it. And I'm telling you from experience, I've played with it in my mouth in college, and I still have it. Now I can listen to all the stupid tweets about how this is coming out. But anyway, played with the tobacco in my mouth. And I still do it to this day. And if I don't have it, like, the energy's not there. It gives me the energy, gives me something to do, too. And when I don't have it, it definitely affects you. And many players have said it. How it's going to affect it, how do you handicap against that? I'm not so sure. But it's going to have some effect, especially for pitchers. So it's something interesting to read about. There's no way to really handicap it. I mean, I'll tell you, Buchholz might have some issues this year. He was always a big proponent of it. Now he's going to go out there and pitch without it. It sounds stupid, guys, but we shall see. We shall see. It'll be interesting. There'll be stories about it. Trust you me. There'll be plenty of players crying out about it. Now, I know there's Nicoderm gum and all that stuff. It's different. But something to think about, honestly. A couple team totals I want to give out, because we did go over some of the props on a couple shows ago where we talked about, and I even gave away the home run leader there. I think Stanton wins the home runs. I think, the strikeouts, the total strikeouts for the most strikeouts in the league, that'll be an under. A couple team totals, Yankees, win total, over 85, under 85, under 85. They are too old. The bullpen is great, don't get me wrong, but there's no way that team stays healthy enough. The farm system, not good enough to hold them up. There's no way they get 86 wins. I could be wrong. If they do and they stay completely healthy, which is what they have to do to get to that, then they're going to be in contention. But I'd be real worried to think that. Another one I love is the Phillies over. I like the over 64. I think they're going to have a great second half of the season. Farm system is great. I think I've mentioned it already. I like the Rangers. The Rangers, I think, win the World Series this year. You get a win total with them at 83.5. You got to remember, they won 86 games, I believe, last year. They did that without their number one and number two starters for basically 90% of the season. Okay? They went that far without their number two starters. You bring them in the mix now. You got Prince Fielder, another year removed from the neck surgery. He was looking better last year. Great, the best. Without question, the best farm system in baseball. 83, I'll take it, especially when I think the Angels are going to be the biggest disappointment in baseball this year. They're going to fall flat on their face. Their pitching won't last. They're in trouble. Seattle's an interesting one. They lose Smith out of the bullpen, probably one of the best dominating right-handed against righties, dominated against righties out of the bullpen. He's with the Red Sox now. He's got an injury, though. He's going to be hurt for a little bit. And the Red Sox got Toronto 6 of their first 12 games. They could have really used him for that. That's one of the reasons why they brought him in. So tough time to miss him now. But they got Benoit up there in Seattle. they did all right with their bullpen up there. They're going to be, I think they'll be a little better. Cano's not dealing with the stomach issues he dealt with through the first half of the season, where everyone was saying, "Oh, look, the money got to him. He's not as good. He's declining, and all that. Look at the numbers. This statistic